Today we're talking about special right triangles. In a 45, 45, 90-degree triangle, the length of the hypotenuse is the product of the length of a leg and the square root of 2. And here's an example of a 45, 45, 90 triangle, where the legs are the two sides that make up the 90-degree angle and the hypotenuse is on the opposite side of the 90-degree angle. If we need to find the unknown length, that means find x and find y, of this triangle, notice that this is a special right triangle. It is a 45, 45, 90-degree triangle. So we know we can use these formulas. X would be the hypotenuse, and y would be a leg. So what do we know about 45, 45, 90-degree triangles? The legs are equal. So that means that y has to equal 7, because the legs are what make the 90-degree angle and they are equal. The hypotenuse is equal to the to the leg times the square root of 2. One more time. The hypotenuse is equal to the leg times the square root of 2. So what did we say the leg was? That means x, which is the hypotenuse, is equal to the leg 7 times the square root of 2. If we need to find the unknown length of this triangle, first we have to notice that this is a 45, 45, 90-degree triangle. That means that the hypotenuse, x, this is the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is equal to what? The length of a leg times the square root of 2. So a in this case would be the leg, right? So instead of calling it a, we can call it the leg times the square root of 2. So x, the hypotenuse, is equal to 6 times the square root of 2. If we need to find the unknown length of a 45, 45, 90-degree triangle, and we're only given the hypotenuse, what are we looking for? The legs. The legs. The legs are equal in a 45, 45, 90-degree triangle. We know that the hypotenuse is equal to the leg times the square root of 2. If we know that the hypotenuse is 10 square root of 2, and that's equal to the leg, let's say x, times the square root of 2, we need to solve for x. What is the inverse operation of multiplication? Division. What you do to one side, you do to the other. When we divide by the square root of 2, the square roots cancel. That means that 10 is equal to x. So if x is equal to 10, and the two legs are equal, what does y equal? So y also equals 10. In a 30, 60, 90 triangle, the length of the hypotenuse is twice the length of the shorter leg. The length of the longer leg is the product of the length of the shorter leg and the square root of 3. Now you can see the sides of the triangle identified in blue ink. The hypotenuse is always opposite of the 90-degree angle. The short leg is always the leg that goes from the 90-degree to the 60-degree angle. And the long leg is always the leg that goes from the 90-degree angle to the 30-degree angle. The hypotenuse is equal to 2 times the short leg, and the long leg is equal to the short leg times the square root of 3. If we have to find the length of x in this 30, 60, 90 triangle. So let's identify the sides of the triangle. 36 is what? The hypotenuse. 18 would be the short or the long leg. From 90 to 60, this is the short leg. From 90 to 30, x would be the long leg. Do you see how to identify the three sides? Now, if we need to find the long leg, we know that the long leg is equal to the short leg times the square root of 3. What is the short leg? 18 times the square root of 3. That is what x equals. The long leg, or x, equals 18 times the square root of 3. If we need to identify the unknown length, and we see that this is a special right triangle, this is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Let's start by identifying the sides. 18 is what? 18 is a hypotenuse. X would be the short or the long leg? X would be the short leg. The leg that goes from 90 to 60 is the short leg. The leg that goes from 90 to 30 is the long leg. Now, we wrote earlier that the hypotenuse is equal to the short leg times the square root of 3, and the long leg is equal to the short leg. The hypotenuse is equal to the short leg times 2, and the long leg is equal to the short leg times the square root of 3. So what is the only thing that they give us here? The hypotenuse. So let's use hypotenuse equals short leg times 2. So 18 equals the short leg. What does the short leg equal here? X times 2. Can we solve for x? We have to divide by 2. That means 9 is equal to x. So we found the short leg. This is 9. Can we find the long leg now? So we know that the long leg is equal to the short leg times the square root of 3. That means long leg, y, is equal to the short leg, which we found to be 9, times the square root of 3. If we have this triangle and we have to find the unknown lengths, x and y, what type of triangle is this? 30, 60, 90. So it's a special type of right triangle. Can we identify the side? What is 6? Short leg. What is y? Long leg. What is x? Hypotenuse. So we know that the hypotenuse is equal to what? Short leg times 2. And we know that the long leg is equal to what? Short leg times square root of 3. Can we find x? So if x is the hypotenuse, we can say x is equal to the short leg. What does the short leg equal? 6 times 2. That means x equals 12. So we found the hypotenuse as 12. Can we find y? So y is the long leg, and the long leg is equal to the short leg times the square root of 3. Means y equals 6, the short leg, times the square root of 3.